G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and the absolute privilege to be wearing this replica Wallabies jersey, the greatest jersey in the history of the world, okay? And, you know, when it comes to talk about the Wallabies, it's very, very emotional subject for me. And yes, this will be a trial match. Yes, this will be somewhat inconsequential. But for me, all I ask from the men in gold is to wear my jersey with a little bit of pride this weekend and not come out, get flogged, or make stupid mistakes and get themselves sent off with deliberate knock-ons, okay? That is all I ask. Very low bar this weekend, okay? And Eddie Jones, I look forward to be disappointed once again, okay? And I apologize in advance. I didn't have time to do the stats for the players for this game, so we're just gonna have to go with this because I have a problem sleeping these days. So let's just move on. So obviously this match, there's a few changes Eddie Jones has made for this match, and obviously the guy that he knows I hate the most, right? Eddie Jones, if you answer my phone call, I've been calling you all week, mate. Why don't you answer my phone call? I told you, put Jorgensen on the wing and don't put Vunivalu there, alright? And somehow Eddie Jones, he just don't answer my phone call. I don't know why. He just won't answer my phone call. Even though he's my dad, right? He just won't answer my phone call. And and somehow, as I was feared the most, Vunivalu gets the number 11 jersey this weekend, instead of Jorgensen, someone who's very talented, plays fullback, but I'm sure he can play wing. And who knows, okay? All I ask is you don't get sent off with a yellow card, mate, okay? That is seriously all I ask of you, Vunivalu. Please, please, don't tarnish my jersey any further. That's all I ask of you, okay? And yes, so this weekend, State of France, the French have had a bit of a, rocky few weeks into the rugby warm-up. They lost to Scotland in Murrayfield, so they are a little bit butthurt coming into this match, and they wanted to make a statement, especially next week going into against the All Blacks opening match. They need to win that one to finish the pool at the top position, and it's quite critical for them to get that, preferential, matchup against the Pool B, which is the toughest pool in the history of rugby. So they really wanted to secure that win in the first match, and to build into that, this match against the Wallabies is the perfect stage for them. So the French have pretty much, rolled out their biggest and strongest team possible against the Wallabies. And we shall see. The Wallabies, we'll have a look at the history in a minute. But the Wallabies last year lost to the French by 1 point in State of France. So I look forward to a similar margin this game, okay? Fingers crossed. So let's have a look at the history now so we get an exact idea. The two teams actually match up quite well under Dave Rennie. The style that the two teams play are very similar. And the Wallabies has been basically like, the margin has been basically being one penalty kick between the two teams. The Wallabies don't really have a, experienced goal kicker, with Quay being dropped. So the Carter Gordon will have to do all the kicking, and his goal kicking percentage is probably around the 75% if I'm being a bit nice to him. And I just really don't know. Like the French goal kickers, it's like 100%, literally close to 100%, 95%. So the goal kicking will be a massive difference. And considering how close the matches has been in the past, I am very disappointed that could be a key area where just straight up lose the game because of the goal kicking. So we can see that it kind of started with the summer tour to Australia with under Dave Rennie, 3-match series. All 3 matches came down to less than 3 points. 2 points difference there, 2 points difference there, 3 points difference there. And then obviously last year, the 1 point difference in France. Man, that was one of the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my life, with Tom Wright missing the tackle. I'll never forget this. I have recurring nightmares of this match, okay? A Tom Wright missing the tackle, or Damien Pennold to cost us a match in the last minute. I actually still get nightmares from this. But hey, Eddie Jones, please, if you can lose this game within 3, I will be greatly appreciated. And if you win the game, I don't know what to say. I mean, I have to issue a massive apology, I guess. I don't know. If you answer my phone call, Eddie, I will apologize to you. And yeah, so quite close to recent times, but this game in Stade de France, I think the French will win out the big guns. The weather, it's going to be a little bit rainy. Potentially, it's going to be on a Sunday game, so this will be like Monday morning for me. And hopefully, the wet weather don't affect us too much. I do believe that the game last year was a little bit of drizzle. I think there was a little bit of drizzle there. Really didn't affect too much of the game, but hopefully the rain doesn't affect everybody. The one thing that might affect the game quite significantly is the referee, Mr. Luke Pearce. Okay, Luke Pearce, he looks like a soccer player, but he's actually a rugby referee, believe it or not. And he's actually a quite good rugby referee, and he's very good and clear, concise with his directions, and he's very good at finding mitigating factors to make the right decision on the field. So I'm really happy for having him on the field. And Luke Pearce, looking for a big game for him. And that will be good selections. So with that being said, there's a little bit of news came out. Apparently this game was going to get pulled. The French apparently owed Australian Rugby $1.7 million in match fees for this match. And this fee apparently is higher than the budget. The French did not expect the current budget to give Australian this much money for this game. So there was a little bit of dispute. And you might be asking, why would there be a dispute or how much money you pay for the team? Because, okay, this $1.7 million fee was verbally agreed by the former head of French president, Bernard Laporte, who's gone to jail for corruption. Okay, he's convicted of corruption for whilst working for the French Rugby Union. Okay, this is not corruption in some other place. Corruption within the French Rugby Union. It's a French Rugby Federation, whatever. Anyway, it's within the French Rugby Union. He's been done. He's gonna go to jail. And this guy who's been convicted of corruption allegedly had verbally agreed to give Australian Rugby $1.7 million for this match. Whereas the French Union is under the impression that the fee had been a lot less. So they had to go some dispute, but eventually the French Rugby is like, okay, let's just go with a verbal agreement 1.7, even though we are not aware of it. The current management are not aware of it. But hey, we'll go with that. Okay? You tell me if there's not something wrong with Australian Rugby just by the fact that they had a verbal agreement from a cook for this match. So, hey, I don't know what's going on here. You can tell me. But yeah, let's go with the lineup this weekend. First up, I'm very excited for this front row lineup. We've got the best loose prop in Australia, Angus Bell, coming in once again to a matchup against potentially the best props in the world, some of the best props in the world against the French team. Uni Antonio is one of the biggest props in the world. He's close to, it's like 196 meters tall, I think, and he's close to like 145 kilograms, 150 kilograms. He's massive. He's absolutely massive. I don't think it's 150. He used to be like 150. I think it's about 140 something at the moment. And Antonio Uni has been very, very good for the French team in recent times. You know, in the Six Nations, I did feel like he was a little bit slow. I did feel like he might be a little bit unfit. In fact, I feel like his fitness was a bit of an issue. But obviously, he has dramatically improved on that front. He's scoring tries, carrying the ball hard, defending well, and just really like that size really doesn't seem to be slowing down. And this is going to be a huge challenge for Angus Bell in that scrummaging. And, if Angus Bell can overcome Antonio in the scrummaging, I'm going to be, I will be happy. Even if we lose by 20 points, if we just get one scrum win for Angus Bell, I'll be laughing. I'll be happy for the rest of the week, okay? That's all I ask for this game. But this is going to be very, very, very hard. So, coming in at the hooker position, Dave Parecki, as always, solid in the set piece, solid in the scrummaging. And then the big man, Tongan Thor, has returned. He had a bit of a sore rib or something. He really didn't get much game time, so really need to see him with more game time. He is one of the most dominant scrummagers for the Wallabies, but he's been injured for a very long time. So whether or not he will have that dominance, once again, his technique is very, very, very good in scrummaging. A lot of people tries to remember him as the ball runner, the fancy, look passes. But I think he's very, like, his talent in the scrummaging is really where he shines, like, more than the fancy try scoring stuff. Sometimes I feel like he does too much of that. But his scrummaging is very, so I'm really looking forward for this scrummaging. He's up against Jean-Baptiste Gros. Obviously, the French Cyril Bay is injured, so Gros is in the team. Cyril Bay will be like nursing his injury, potentially play a bit later in the tournament. But Tanela Tupou will have a good game up against Jean-Baptiste Gros. Julien Macron comes in number 2 for the French. Again, very solid lineout operator for him. In the locking positions, we've got in the French team, had Thibaut Flament and Paul Willemse. The South African comes in number 5 for the French. Like, this is actually, I would say that this is, the French locks have very, very deep in talent. They got Cameron Wilkie that tends to start. So this is technically, I would say, like the B team, the reserve locks in the start, like, because Cameron Wilkie has been so good for the French. But then again, Willemse has been such a veteran, and Flament has also regularly been in starting position as well. So yeah, this is a very, very strong locking combo. And for the Australians, we've got Richie Arnold and his captain himself, Will Skelton, comes in at number 5. These two guys, I really felt that they actually don't work that well. Both of them played in France. Richie Arnold played in Stade de France, whereas Will Skelton played for La Rochelle. So this will be interesting because they will be used to. I think that's one of the reasons Eddie Jones brought them in, right? Because they're used to playing in the French environment. Now, probably know a few French words, potentially give the Wallabies a bit of an edge. That's definitely why Will Skelton is selected as captain, because of his experience in France. But yeah, having those two working together again is interesting to see, because I really don't think that the best locking combination is these two. I really felt like, Richie Arnold is probably a little bit better off the bench, to be really honest. But that's I'm not too worried about that setup there for the Wallabies. In the loosies, the loose forwards, we've got Francois Croix comes in number 6. Tom Hooper gets that blindside flanker position. Tom Hooper actually has been quite good these days since that horrendous first start to the Springboks. Has actually been quite good. Again, big guy. He's like almost 2 meters tall. And in that blindside flanker position, something that Eddie Jones really, really likes. He likes to play that with England. It's something that the South Africans likes to play as well. Having almost a third lock in a blindside flanker position, just to give a bit more weight in that side. It's something that I really like to do in World Rugby these days, and having Tom Hooper there is probably the perfect fit for that. In the open side flanker position, Charles Olivon, the former captain returning from a long-term injury, has been, building strength from strength every week. He's up against a Fraser McRae, someone who's, the one thing that he needs to work on this game is discipline. Someone who's been, who had a bit of a history, which led to him kind of being dropped, sort of thing, because of his discipline issues. So yeah, really, like, Fraser needs to keep his head together and, stay composed and make sure that the penalty count stays low, because the goal kicking is going to be such a big difference between the two teams. Number 8, we've got Gregory Aldridge for the French, and Rob Valentini, always hard ball runner for the Wallabies. Comes in at the number 9 position, Antoine Dupont, the biggest name in French rugby these days, the biggest name in rugby in the world these days, actually. He's the best number 9 in the world. The French, despite losing Romain Ntamack, the number 10, Antoine Dupont pretty much makes all the playmaking anyway. The French is I think the only team in the world. Maybe the Springboks do a bit of playmaking out of number 9 with the kicking, but French is Antoine Dupont is a true playmaker out of 9 position. His goal, his kicking game, his passing game, his just running game, deciding where to attack, the decision making, it's all done through the number 9. So even though they lost Romain Ntamack in a world class number 10. I don't think the French will suffer that much, to be honest, because Dupont is really the man that does the job for the number 10 mostly anyway. Tate McDermott has shown a lot of flair for the Australians, but still has a long way to go to catch up with Dupont. But the style that the two players play is actually quite similar, even though Dupont's accuracy is a lot higher. So Tate McDermott will have to put on a good shift to match up with him. Number 10 to the position, Matthew Jalibert comes in at number 10. Again, he is, he's a solid player. He's a utility player who plays multiple positions. And I think that, with Ntamack injured, Jalibert is actually a very good replacement anyway. So, and like I said, Dupont is a playmaker in on himself. So Jalibert is absolutely, it's absolutely no issue at the 10 there for the French. Carter Gordon has been really good for the Wallabies, to be honest. Much better than what I was expecting based on his performances from the Melbourne Rebels. But once again, he has that, when he comes in the second half, when the pressure comes on, his accuracy starts to drop, his goal kicking starts to drop, and that's something that he really needs to improve, and that's something that, time and experience will add to him. And number 11, Gabin Villiers for the French. Again, he has been injured a little while. I saw his return for the French forward, and he's just unbelievably good. He played against Australia in the 2011 July series, and he was absolutely devastating. I think he scored multiple tries against us in that series. And then we've got, I'll talk about this, Suliasi Vunivalu. I really felt like, Eddie Jones is trying to pigeonhole him into the team because he really likes the rugby league player for some reason. But Vunivalu, his last performance, it kind of echoed, his last performance against the Springboks B team kind of echoed his performances in the Super Rugby. A lack of understanding of the defensive structures, a lack of maybe a little bit lax understanding of the rules, and under pressure, he really just goes to his rugby league instincts, and it's really just not working for Union. That's I really don't think that having a game time here it's gonna make much difference. His kicking game is not that great either. Very indecisive on the field, but he's good for running the ball. So if we want to see whether or not they're going to be able to create some space for him out wide, and we'll have to see. But I really don't think that he deserves the spot at number 11, to be honest. Number 12, Jonathan Danty, as always, for the French, and Gao Fuku, the two veterans combination now for the French team. Just Danty brings the power, Fuku brings the speed and agility. Two very different styles. One runs straight, and the other one, Fuku, is running much better, running at angles. And they're going to be up against Lalakai Fogeti. Samuel Karevi has a bit of a hand injury, so he's going to be taking some time out to nursing that. So Fogeti will be really good. And Fogeti played against France last year, and he did really well. So I'm not too worried about him. I think he scored a try against France as well last year. So it'd be good for him to be getting that exposure once again. Jordan Mateo, obviously, is the outside center since Len Nikita has been injured, and I think Mateo has been quite good at outside center position. I was worried about his defensive prowess, but he hasn't really shown too much of an issue for the Wallabies in that regards. Again, this is a guy that gives him bloody nightmares. Damien Penaud, number 14, the most dangerous man on the field for the French, and he's just unbelievably good. Obviously, we've got Mark Nwanga on the opposite number, so this will be a good matchup. It really comes down to who can create more space for their players, and Penaud will be playing, the kicking game, not the kicking game, but will be responding to Anton Dupont's kicking game quite a lot in this game. So that's an area that the Wallabies needs to watch out for. And finally, in the fullback position, Thomas Ramos, the goal kicker. He's going to be like, Dupont's the captain, by the way. Thomas Ramos, the goal kicker. He also does a little bit of playmaking, sometimes moving up to the attacking line. So he's basically like the third playmaker for the team as well. But the main thing is his goal kicking is absolutely unbelievable. Like close to 100% you can get. And just like anywhere inside your 50, he's going to slot that over. And also just the kicking game as well. He's absolutely clinical in the kicking game. And this is going to be very difficult for Andrew Callaway to deal with. Even Andrew Callaway, one of the best fullbacks, in Australia, if not in the world. I think he's gonna struggle against Thomas Ramos in the kicking game, to be very frank. I think this is gonna be, especially with Vunivalu not able to play any kicking game. In fact, struggles with the kicking game. Andrew Callaway is gonna have to take over all that by himself, essentially, with Carter Gordon sweeping back. So Ramos is gonna give the Wallabies a lot of headaches this weekend. And let's go to the substitutes. So we got Petau Mavaka comes in number 16. Matt Thadzler for the Wallabies coming number 16 in the hooker position. Number 17, Sebastian Taufefenoa. Blake Shoop comes in for the Wallabies, number 17. Dorian Aldegheri comes in number 18 for the French. I'm actually not sure about Aldegheri. I haven't seen, and then same as Taufefenoa, Sebastian Taufefenoa. I haven't seen these two guys play before. And Zhang Nongo for the from the Queensland Reds comes in at number 18. And it's good to see that James Slipper is not here and Eddie Jones is getting the younger players a run here. So this guy, I have seen Rome Taufefenoa, the big guy, the big guy coming off the bench. Again, just a massive size coming off the bench. He's over 2 meters tall, 140 kilograms. Just an absolute monster coming off the field. And he's like the, epitome description of a finisher, bringing on that size just to dominate physically over the opposition. Coming off the bench is very, very dangerous. Matt Phillip will be coming off the bench. Good to see him finally getting some game time. And finally, number 20, Cameron Woolkey, the guy that we talked about. Normally in the starting position, he will be coming off the bench as a finisher for the French. Rob Leota comes in at number 20 for the Wallabies. And finally, the Wallabies have opted for an extra forward on the bench, Langi Gleeson. And the French seems like have put in an extra forward as well in Paul Baudegent, because Baptiste Couillou is number 9. So Langi Gleeson, again, has been injured for a while. He's been really, really, really good for the Waratahs. A lot of physicality. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. And I'm actually not too sure about this guy, but I'm pretty sure he's a forward. And then we got Baptiste Couillou. He's the number 9 reserve for the French. Isaac finds Ledewasa, the only, I think he's the only Western Force player that's been selected to the team, will be covering number 9 position. And finally, Melvin Jaminet. Oh boy. Another number 15 utility player. Again, he also has close to 100% goal kicking. And he showed last week that how good he was. And he's just, like the fact that he's plays second fiddles to Tomo Ramos is actually mind-blowing how much talent the French have in the fullback position. Like, it's like Jaminet will be starting at number 15 jersey in every other nation. I'm not joking. You can put him in any other team in the world. Like, he will be starting ahead of Freddie Stewart. He'll be starting again ahead of Andrew Callaway. He'll be starting ahead of Bowden Barrett. 100% for the All Blacks. And for some reason, he's a reserve for the French team. That just shows you how good this French team actually is. Because, like this guy's kicking game. Like last week, he's came up the line as a playmaker out of the 15 jersey. Was unbelievable. So, it's incredible how good this French team actually is. And for the Wallabies, finally Ben Dollison finishing the game. This is the first time this year he's getting a time on the field. He has been, considered a utility player, but he only plays, as far as I know, he only plays fly half for the Waratahs. And his goal kicking on that has improved a lot. Last year his goal kicking was probably about 65%. This year is much closer to the 80%. And that's something that we really, really happy about for him. But anyway, hopefully the game is a close one. I think the Wallabies will lose. If the Wallabies can lose less than 5, I'll be really happy. If Vunivalu don't do something stupid, I'll be really happy as well. And then if Angus Bell wins a scrummaging, I will be literally running around doing celebrations in the living room. But yes, that's my predictions. Wallabies lose by 5, 27 points to 22. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later for the All Blacks game. Cheers.